Imagine a life where no one can make you angry and no event can shake you. Picture having a deep sense of calm inside while storms rage outside. That's exactly what Stoicism offers, the ability to withstand even life's hardest blows. But don't get carried away just yet. Stoicism isn't as easy as it sounds. Sometimes it forces you to face the truths that make you most uncomfortable. It asks you to embrace hardships, remember your own mortality, and live every single day with responsibility. That's why the teachings of the Stoics are not just about peace, but also about brutal honesty. And that's exactly why so many people struggle to grasp it. So why should a man become stoic? Because when a man carries the weight of life on his shoulders, he has to learn how to stand without breaking. This is where Stoicism steps in. Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius kept his composure even in the middle of an empire in crisis. Epictetus broke free from the chains of slavery and became one of history's greatest thinkers. Seneca, even in exile, wrote works that still shine centuries later. These men proved that Stoicism isn't just a theory, it's a way of life that's been lived. Now I'm going to show you 5 key behaviors every Stoic man should bring into his life. These aren't just ideas left behind in the books of ancient philosophers. They are real, practical lessons you can apply in your modern life today. From controlling your anger to turning hardships into opportunities, these 5 behaviors will make you a stronger, calmer, and more focused man. And maybe most importantly, they'll give you an inner strength no one can ever take away. Picture this. You're stuck in morning traffic and someone cuts you off. Your heart starts racing, your hands grip the wheel tight, and a curse almost slips out of your mouth. In that moment, you have 2 choices. Either let anger take the wheel and ruin your whole day, or take a breath and take control of your emotions. This is where the difference of a Stoic man begins. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean suppressing them or pretending they don't exist. None of us are robots. Anger, fear, excitement, sadness. All of these are natural human feelings. But here's the real question. Will these feelings control you, or will you control them? Think about your life. Maybe your boss yells at you unfairly. Maybe one of your friends belittles you. Or maybe even a random comment on social media gets under your skin. If you're a slave to your emotions, these small things will dictate your entire state of mind. But once you learn to manage them, you can stop outside events from touching your inner peace. There are simple practices for this. For example, when someone is rude to you, instead of reacting right away, take 3 deep breaths first. Even a few seconds can change the flow of your emotions. Or ask yourself, do I really need to react to this? 3 days from now, will this still matter to me? Most of the time, the answer is a big no. Another method is writing your thoughts down. Get a simple notebook and jot down the things that make you angry, sad, or anxious during the day. By putting the feeling into words, you're basically telling your brain, I've noticed this emotion. Noticing is the first step to controlling it, and by writing it down, you release your anger without hurting or insulting anyone. Later, when you go back and read those pages, you'll realize how many of those moments were actually meaningless. The truth is, most of our biggest regrets in life come from impulsive reactions. That's why learning to control your emotions doesn't just make you calmer. It makes you someone who makes fewer mistakes. For a Stoic man, this behavior is a cornerstone, because if you can't control your emotions, you can't control your life. If anger is running you, then you're not really making your own decisions. If fear is holding you back, you'll never live up to your full potential. Remember, you can't change the outside world, but you can shape your inner world. And being a strong man starts right there, by becoming the captain of your emotions. Life often feels like a constant rush, doesn't it? You go to work, deal with meetings, messages, traffic, and by the end of the day, you realize it feels like you've accomplished almost nothing. The Stoics would call that a wasted day. To them, every single day is a piece of your life, and how you spend it is entirely your responsibility. Now, making a day meaningful doesn't mean being busy or cramming it with tasks. It's actually the opposite. It's about knowing what truly matters and focusing on that. Spending time on small but meaningful things gives you a sense of fulfillment. Calling a friend, going for a short walk, reading a book, or writing down your thoughts. These may seem small, but they feed your soul and make your day meaningful. There's a simple way to practice this. Every morning, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do today that really matters to me? And then, make time for it. That way, your day is shaped not by other people's rush, but by your own choices. Here's a real example. Marcus Aurelius, during his reign, was once inspecting his army in the morning when he saw a soldier fall and injure himself. He could have just rushed on with his duties, but instead he stopped, helped the soldier, eased his pain, and showed that being human came before simply managing an empire. This small but concrete act reflects Marcus's approach to making each day meaningful, balancing big responsibilities with real human connections. Remember, making your day meaningful doesn't mean chasing huge achievements. It's about living the day through small, intentional choices that bring peace and focus. The important part is feeling that time is in your hands. That sense of dissatisfaction you sometimes feel at the end of the day, it often comes from not being aware of your choices. Learning to make your day meaningful is also about taking back control of your life. Because what you prioritize today is what shapes your tomorrow. We all know that life doesn't always move in a straight line. Challenges, unexpected setbacks, and failures are inevitable. The difference lies in how you face them and what you learn from them. And this is exactly where Stoicism comes in, turning every obstacle into an opportunity. Think about it. Maybe you lost your job or a project didn't go the way you hoped. Most people in those moments give up and grow bitter. But a Stoic mindset teaches you to see the situation not just as an obstacle, but as a chance to grow. Hardships are there to strengthen your character, test your patience, and expand your perspective. Here's a real example. When Seneca was exiled by Emperor Nero, he lost nearly everything. Many people in his position would have completely broken down. But Seneca chose the opposite path. During his exile, he not only survived, he kept writing, reflecting, and developing his philosophy. The letters and essays he wrote in that period became a source of inspiration for generations after him. Seneca showed that a great loss, if faced the right way, can actually become the most productive chapter of your life. So how can we apply this in our daily lives? First, instead of seeing every obstacle as a personal disaster, ask yourself, what can this teach me? For example, if a job interview didn't go well, don't just think, I failed. Instead, think, what skills can I improve? This simple shift turns setbacks from something you passively endure into something you actively learn from. Another method is breaking down difficulties into smaller, manageable steps. No matter how overwhelming a crisis seems, dividing it into parts and tackling them one by one not only gives you a sense of control, but also makes the solution more concrete. Remember, challenges are always going to be part of life, but your ability to turn them into opportunities is what determines the quality of your life. If we can think like Seneca, every obstacle is really just a chance to become stronger and wiser. Facing difficulties and learning from them is one of the core traits of a Stoic man. And always keep this in mind. Failure or setbacks don't define your worth. Your worth is defined by how you respond to them and by the lessons you choose to take away. Modern life is full of chaos, constant phone notifications, social media, endless workloads. Every day we're bombarded with distractions pulling our attention in 100 directions. This is exactly where self-discipline and simplicity come into play. The Stoics taught that a person should use their willpower to simplify life and focus only on what truly matters. Now, simplicity and discipline don't just mean giving up material possessions or luxuries. The real point is being able to tell which habits add value to your life and which ones drain you for no reason. Small choices stacked together are what ultimately shape the quality of your life. Take Cato the Younger as a real example. Even though he lived right in the middle of Roman politics and power struggles, he chose to live with discipline and simplicity. Every morning he would walk among the people, eat simple meals, and avoid luxury. But his discipline went beyond appearances. In the Senate, surrounded by corruption and political pressure, he refused to compromise his moral principles. In heated debates, instead of panicking or being swayed by others' mistakes, he stayed calm, logical, and principled. His actions proved that discipline and simplicity aren't just about personal peace, they're also the foundation of effective and powerful living. Applied to our daily lives, self-discipline starts with simple habits. Waking up with a clear morning routine, prioritizing the most important tasks of the day, and consciously staying away from distractions. Simplicity means cutting out unnecessary consumption, unhelpful habits, and all the clutter that only weighs you down. When you bring these two together, you start living with more control and focus. For example, at the end of the day, you can simply ask yourself, did I focus on what really mattered today? That small check builds awareness and helps you live every day with intention. Self-discipline and simplicity are cornerstones of a Stoic man's character. Without discipline, your decisions are random. Without simplicity, your focus scatters. But if you can think like Cato, stripping away the chaos and choosing your actions with intention, you'll not only live stronger, you'll also live with greater peace. If you really want to understand the value of life, you can't avoid thinking about death. The Stoics called this Memento Mori. Remember that you will die. At first, it might sound dark, but in truth, it's incredibly empowering. Remembering death helps you live every moment with awareness and frees you from unnecessary worries, anger, and anxieties. Think about it. You wake up in the morning and get swept up in the rush of the day, work, traffic, social media. But what if today was your last day? Philosophy reminds us of exactly this. Life is short and uncertain, so it's up to us to make every day meaningful. Here's a real example. In 399 BC, Socrates was sentenced to death in Athens. Facing his final days, instead of collapsing in fear, he chose to give his students and friends one last lesson. Before drinking the hemlock, he spoke with calmness and purpose, sharing wisdom about the immortality of the soul and the importance of living with virtue. He comforted those around him, prepared himself for death without fear, and showed through his actions that accepting death is the key to truly valuing life. So how can we bring this into our own daily lives? You can start by creating small rituals. In the morning when you wake up or at night before bed, take a few minutes to ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I still do this? That simple question helps you see what really matters and clears away unnecessary worries. Another way is to be intentional about how you spend time with loved ones and how you use your energy. Remembering death encourages you to appreciate people instead of hurting them, and to stop postponing the things that truly matter. Don't forget, Memento Mori is not about pessimism, it's about living consciously. When you remember death, you're less likely to get caught up in petty anger, pointless competition, or meaningless stress. Knowing the value of every moment makes you freer, stronger, and more at peace. Just like Socrates, who added meaning to his final hours by acting with awareness and courage, facing death with clarity is one of the most powerful practices a Stoic man can embrace. As we've seen, the 5 core practices of a Stoic man aren't just abstract ideas. They're grounded in real, concrete actions. Controlling your emotions, making each day meaningful, turning obstacles into opportunities, living with discipline and simplicity, and remembering death. Each of these is a tool to live a conscious, powerful, and meaningful life. Remember, philosophy isn't something that just sits in books. It shows its real power when you apply it in daily life. Start small. Notice just one of your behaviors each day and make a conscious choice about it. Time is short, but how you use it is entirely in your hands. Knowing that every day is a part of your life shapes your priorities and decisions. Small choices build up into big changes. Choosing not to give in to anger, not letting fear control you, and focusing on what truly matters. That's where real strength and peace are found. By shaping your life with Stoic principles, you can become both calmer and stronger. And don't forget, true virtue isn't just about knowing, it's about living it. Keeping Stoic lessons only as thoughts isn't enough. When you put them into practice in your daily actions, your life becomes more meaningful and valuable. Stoicism calls us not to be controlled by others, but to recognize our own will and our own choices. Living each moment with awareness, owning your emotions, and accepting the inevitability of death doesn't just build a strong character. It helps you truly feel the value of life itself. Remember, every day is a new opportunity, every moment a lesson. Stoic teachings don't just tell us how to think, but how to live. So start weaving them into your life step by step, and each day you'll grow more aware of the value of time. Because life isn't measured by how much passes, but by how you choose to live it. Thank you for watching.